The Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, FMBN, has a mandate to provide reliable and affordable access to home ownership for Nigerians. The bank, over the last 30 years, has explored various avenues to realize this mandate. From ensuring that mortgages are available to designing innovative products, the FMBN has made the dream of owning decent homes come true for average and low-income earners in the country. And because the bank has a vision that includes every interested Nigerian, it has taken its drive for making Nigerians homeowners out of the formal sector, expanding its scope and reach. Sensitizations and awareness campaigns have in recent times become a major feature of the activities of the FMBN as a means to ensure that contributors and stakeholders are kept abreast of the bank's activities and to pick the interests of other Nigerians over the opportunities for home ownership that the bank offers. In addition to creating awareness, the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria also courts partnerships with both local and international organizations who can offer both financial and technical support in delivering affordable mass housing for the low-income market. The Africa International Housing Show is one partnership the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria actively pursues and participates in, lending its voice to the Nigerian housing industry, raising awareness, establishing networks, and also showcasing its activities.
We have 15 agencies of
the 18th edition of the African International Housing Show brought together stakeholders from the housing sector from all across Africa to commemorate another edition of the program. The program usually features product presentations, exhibitions of building technology, home interiors, modern construction equipment, mortgage services, and interactive forums with stakeholders in the building industry from across the world. The aim is to achieve affordable housing for all. This year, the FMBN, as a strategic partner of the Africa International Housing Show, had a special day, the very first of its kind to exclusively showcase its efforts over the past years as well as its ambitions for the housing sector going forward. The theme of the FMBN Day was Financing the Housing We Need, a new dawn at FMBN as an institutional enabler, that is, revolutionizing the NHF for affordable housing finance. Speaking during the event, Group Head Strategy and Performance Management, Oladapo Fakeye, in a welcome address, highlighted the purpose of having a special day for the FMBN.
It is on note that FMBN has had a very checkered history over the years, and the good news is that we are at the cusp of a new dawn. So today is to showcase the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria in view of its very pivotal role in the housing sector, and to share our dreams and aspirations, as well as provide our stakeholders an opportunity to share in the dreaming with us as well.
The Managing Director of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, Shehu Usman Osidi, in a presentation expressed fulfillment for hosting such an event, the first of its kind ever. The Managing Director began by noting the remarkable contribution of the bank to the Nigerian housing sector from 1993, when it became functional as the Apex Mortgage Bank in Nigeria. He stated that the bank in the last 31 years has delivered over 39,000 housing units to its customers across the country. He also underscored other efforts the bank has put in over the years to contribute to affordable housing delivery.
The bank has consistently served the needs of the Nigerian populace within the limit of its resources. Since its re-establishment in 1993, the bank has delivered about 39,000 new homes, about 25,500 mortgages, and over 120,000 macro housing loans, all within a single-digit interest rate lending regime. Under the National Housing Fund, it has registered 26,350 organizations and over 5.8 million cumulative contributors with over 1 million accounting for the self-employed sector. The bank has disbursed the cumulative of 440 billion naira under its various loan windows to drive affordable housing finance for the Nigerian economy. To its record, the sum of 84.8 billion naira has been refunded to 492,604 contributors who exited the NHF scheme in line with the provisions of the NHF Act. Again, over the years, the bank has expanded its bouquet of loans from mortgage financing to housing construction to micro-housing financing and more recently, a rent-to-own product.
OCD further disclosed the bank's plans for the housing sector under the leadership of the new management.
The current executive management desires to transform FMBN into an institution that delivers on its promises and is responsive to the yearnings and aspirations of its stakeholders, namely shareholders, contributors, loan beneficiaries, regulators, partners, as well as staff. Accordingly, after a careful and critical examination of the bank and where it needs to be in the nearest future, the new executive management unveiled a 7-point agenda on assumption of office in February this year.
He said the new management of the bank upon resumption of office in February 2024 outlined a 7-point agenda to guide them in key areas of focus in fulfilling the mandate of the bank. They include deepening process automation, promoting cost efficiency, enhancing credit quality and reducing non-performing loans, effective project management, expanding strategic partnerships, enthroning a robust organizational and employee performance management system, and standardized capacity building and talent management. The managing director of the FMBN also highlighted the efforts of the bank in collaboration with its supervising ministry, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Planning, in recent times in providing affordable housing for contributors of the National Housing Scheme. He revealed that in recent times, the bank began housing projects across the country as a means of bridging the housing gap in the country.
To support Mr. President's housing agenda, the bank extended a 100 billion naira off-taker guarantee to the consortium of developers undertaking the Renewed Hope Cities and Estates program, which commenced with the groundbreaking of 3,112 housing units to be built nationwide. Which commenced with the 3,112 housing units Renewed Hope City in Karsana, being part of the 100,000 housing units to be built nationwide. 2. To aggressively pursue the recovery of bad loans, we constituted recovery task teams to immediately tackle the nagging challenge of the classified loan portfolio with a tight timeline for result delivery. 3. We are concluding the deployment of the core banking application project to usher in a new era of automated service delivery to our corporate and individual customers. We have commenced an intense review of operational processes and procedures to introduce innovation and efficiency with improved turnaround time, beginning with the inter-account settlement process to enhance mortgage origination. We are conducting a nationwide assessment of all ongoing projects in order to ensure timely completion of the estates while putting in place effective measures to ensure immediate offtake through the bank's mortgage financing windows when completed.
As part of its efforts for wider coverage, the managing director of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria also disclosed that the bank is reviewing the NHF Act to bring it to terms with current economic realities.
Good afternoon, everybody.
There was a parley where discussions centered around various topical issues affecting affordable housing delivery in Nigeria, with experts drawn from around the built industry making up the panel. The discussants were optimistic that the discussions would not end at mere talk, given the drive of the leadership of the bank in making sure affordable housing delivery is achieved.
We're going to come from our various perspectives because I'm sure they are taking notes to be able to find out what are the stakeholders expecting from them. And are they assured of the support of the stakeholders for this laudable vision? If we don't get it right now, when? Because all the lines have fallen for us in pleasant places. This is the first time in the 18 years of African International Housing Show that we're having the management and all the officers of Federal Mortgage Bank come here, and they told me that some of them are taking notes of what we are saying with the aim of making sure that this will not be a talk shop, but this will be implemented, the idea that comes from it.
Some speakers raised the issue of the need to recapitalize the assets of the bank, which will provide adequate liquidity for the bank to function more effectively.
We have non-performing assets that have eroded the capital of the institution, so the institution is overdue. I'm even thinking the 500 billion capital being proposed may be short, but again, catalytic if the federal government will put that in place in order to attract additional capital. Because to really fund the housing gap that we have at affordable level, we will need capital beyond the 500 billion, because already we have some negative that will wipe out about half of this contribution. So we should be thinking about 1 trillion naira, because the capital, for us not to overtrade, we will need to multiply by 10. So for us to fund what we have in front, we will need additional capital.
I think it's important that we look beyond just the capitalization of the bank and begin to look at how we can link the bank with the capital markets, which is a field where I think the pension players find very convenient to invest. Once the bank can create a bridge between the primary mortgage, secondary mortgage markets and the capital markets, I think we can easily catalyze the industry and begin to see a lot more houses being delivered under this renewable housing program and generally housing program development in Nigeria.
Another issue discussed was the need for the FMBN to deepen its partnership with primary mortgage banks.
There's no way you can leave a cat without a tail. For you to achieve all what you have put before you, which I know you can achieve even faster than the expectation, I think you have to carry along primary mortgage banks. I do understand that there are issues, but if you have a woman that is preparing to go for allocation and she has her chain entangled, unless you first sit down and you find a way to sort it out before you can wear your bracelet on your chain, I think the first thing to do is reconciliation. I think FMBN need to reach out to primary mortgage banks and find out what are these legacy issues. You cannot fight from where you're seated. You're supposed to understand what the issues are. Most of these issues are not created by the people there, but the people there must have solutions to the issues. I think you have to deepen your relationship with primary mortgage bank.
Another problem limiting the FMBN, as stated by another panelist, was the contributions to the National Housing Fund scheme, which is still at 2.5%. He, however, suggested that the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria explore the option of sourcing funding from within and outside the shores of the country from foreign investors.
This bank should be adequately funded. And one of the ways I would suggest the bank should be funded is that there should be a robust intervention by the federal government and the state governments as well. And I tell you why. Shelter goes beyond going into a house. Shelter is about social confidence, about economic stability. And in addition to this, it is of utmost importance for us to know that housing grows the economy. Housing grows the economy and offers jobs straight to all categories of workers. I mean, the bank should be given the opportunity, the leeway to source for cheap funds from outside the country. There are cheap funds, sources of funds outside the country, but the bank will need a guarantee by the government So we are demanding that the government give this guarantee to give this bank a breathing space.
Rural inclusion was another point raised by a member of the panel. This, according to the panelist, is a reliable means to cover more people in the scheme.
If you look at, the conceptual contemplation of FMBN or mortgage institution generally, it is intended to be pro-poor. But when you look at the implementation of their methodology, there is a little bit, departure from what it is and what it should be. We are worried that your presence is being felt in the cities, not in the villages where the poor dwell. To this extent, I think it would serve us right if we have more branches in each of the statutory districts as opposed to each one that we have in the state capital now. I think that will help us. So the moment we begin to take these products closer to the people, that moment it begins to impact very, creditably on the life of the people.
Effective communication was also identified as one way to expand the bank's net. The bank was advised to engage in town hall meetings with marketers who will in turn spread more information about the deliverables of the bank.
FMBN is trying to reach the public, which is beautiful. But there is a gap there. There is a gap between the people and FMBN, and I think it lies in marketers and developers. I see a situation where FMBN organizes, for example, an annual marketer forum that just says we're going to have a forum for marketers where they all come together across the nation and sit in a hall and they demonstrate what FMBN does to them. They can then multiply that effect in the market.
Comments and observations were also taken at the end of the presentations.
What we're discussing as formal sector and the contributions we can expect from them is infinitesimal compared to what we can get from the informal sector. So I'm advocating for more deepening of contributions from the informal sector. I understand the risks that may be associated with that, but we can price those risks appropriately and then begin to deepen that area.
The Executive Director, Loans and Mortgage Services, Mohammed Sani Abdu, appreciated the organizers of the AIHS for obliging the FMBN to showcase its activities, create awareness about the activities of the bank, as well as share its plans for the Nigerian housing sector with the world. The Executive Director noted that the bank will no longer do business as usual.
Please, a developer is not a contractor. They should be able to live up to their responsibility. And they know it because when they come to the accredited, they are giving a checklist, and you know that packaging, inter-account settlements, and foreclosing are as important as getting the loan and constructing the house. So they must play this, because part of the problem before was that they shackle these last responsibilities, they bring phantom of takers, and at the end of it all, they leave us with bad loans, white elephant projects replicated all over the country, and people are not benefiting. The new dawn in FMBN is that we will not do any project that is not taking cognizance of these three things at the end, so that immediately we will make sure that the off-takers are there, they have taken, and they have entered their houses, just like we have seen in our draft.
High point of the event was an award presentation to some participants at the event. A drama presentation was another high point of the event, and it showcased the operations of the FMBN and how contributors can benefit from the NHF scheme.
Do your job! It's because can you do your job? It is really good. My heart is at peace. My son, you can take your wife home. Congratulations!
The Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria had an exhibition stand where customers were attended to on a one-on-one level. Staff of the FMBN were on deck to respond to and address customers' questions and concerns. The managing director of the FMBN, on behalf of the bank, also took time to make presentations to some dignitaries of the Abuja International Housing Show at the FMBN stand, where he explained the operations of the bank.
We also have the home renovation loan, where people can take loans, those who already have houses, to renovate their houses.
The FMBN day that took place today.
Speaking on the sidelines, Group Head, Corporate Communications, Dr. Joseph Onyepe, explained the essence of participating in the program, which will positively affect the outcome of the bank's activity.
We had panelists from different spheres of life. We had labor people, we had experts in the mortgage industry, we had the ordinary Nigerian, who came to actually talk frankly, not the kind of discussions you hear in other fora, where people just talk academically. Very practical discussions were held today.
The FMBN Day at the Abuja International Housing Show was a novel experience for the bank, which has opened doors of new opportunities and ideas for it to explore in meeting its mandate of affordable delivery of homes and mortgages for low-income earning Nigerians.